Give us a little snapshot in the quarterback.
It's been a little bit of good and bad, and I think there's been more good and bad really with all of them. There are different aspects of the job, I guess, for each guy, kind of pinpointed early on in camp of what they need to improve on. And so as you script their plays and situations, try to put them in those situations where they have to react / overcome whatever is bothering them, whatever they think they need work on, try to kind of script it in that vein so they can get the work on it. So I think it's been a really good, solid competition for 4 days, and I think it's made it kind of a tougher decision than at some point maybe we thought it was going to be. Guys are battling. They understand what's at stake. They understand only one guy really can play to start the year. Obviously everybody has to be ready to go, but I think it's been really the good thing is I think we have a number of guys that can play the position. It's up to us is to pick the guy that we're going to put out there on the first snap of the first game and follow. And the room has been great. They're really good guys. They're really close group. There's going to be disappointment one way or the other. It happens in every building out there. Even places where there's an established starter, they're having competitions because some freshman or whoever comes in. Same thing in the NFL. So I think once we decide on a guy, I think there'll be full support and understanding of you better be ready to go, because John wouldn't be ready because your chance may come. If you're not ready, it may never come again. It's the same thing at quarterback. If you all of a sudden the game, hey, you're in, and they're not ready, you may never get that shot again. So it's a long answer, I guess. It's been a really good competition, and I'm excited about where we're headed with the position. And I don't, whatever the timetable is in terms of announcing someone, we'll go with that. But I think we have an idea of where we're headed as far as divvying up the reps.
John, you said during spring practice that even back then you had some idea of where this thing would go. 4 months later, we're at camp. Has your thought process there changed? Do you still have an idea where this might go?
Yeah, I think I do, but I think I also have more confidence in what the alternatives are, if you want to say it that way. I do think I have a good feel for how we're going to end up. I think we do as a staff, and I think we've kind of worked the position that way in terms of making sure we didn't shortchange anybody in terms of reps and experience and what situations. But I think I'm more encouraged as to how many guys we can trust to play the game, because I had some reservations in the spring. I thought maybe we have one, maybe we have two. I mean, now I feel a little bit better about the group as a whole. We got a long way to go. I mean, I think that we're still a young team. We got a long way to go, and but I feel better about the position as a whole after going through 15 spring practices, some summer work, and then now 4 days of camp.
So coaching in the NFL, you know what an NFL quarterback is. Does Art have NFL talent? I mean, when you look at him, just the way he's built, the way he throws the ball, the way he moves.
I think so. I mean, if you look at his physical makeup, I mean, I went up and saw Rosen a bunch of times when I was at the Chargers. He's up at UCLA. There's a lot of physical similarities there. I'm not sure it's not a little bit thicker, and he's 18 years old. So, yeah, I think that he's got the physical characteristics, and I think he has the mental makeup for it too. That he's a football grinder, lifer, however you want to say it. This is, I think, the most important to his family, what have you. But football is it for him, and he grinds on it. He watches it constantly. He's got questions every day. He loves the interaction with players. He doesn't have any reservations about leadership. So he's got all those qualities. But you know how that job is. There's 32, but maybe there's really 16 of those guys. But in terms of a guy who's in the mix, no question. I think so. And obviously, at 18 years old, he's got a huge ceiling. But if you look at what the characteristics are on paper, I'd say he has them.
How exciting is that for you to have that be able to have that relationship now with a younger guy? I mean, starting of his career and being able to work with him as he learns.
Well, it's fun. I went at one point. I went 4 years in a row coaching 4 rookies. Now I changed jobs a lot in that time too. So it definitely helps you prepare for what is next and kind of try to anticipate what. The good thing, a lot like when I had Mike Glennon in Tampa, he's very direct. He knows what he needs to work on. And so when you start talking about something he already kind of has a good feel for, he'll tell you, hey, no, I'm good with that, but what about this? You know, like we kind of laugh in the meeting. It's always, hey, this is off topic, and the guys are like, but that's what he needs to know. That's good. Glennon was the same way. He'd be like, no, I got that, but what about this? So that helps, you know, because you get to the heart of what he's struggling with. So a lot of guys will just let that go and say, I got it, and it comes up in a game and they don't got it. So
obviously, being here in the spring can help you as a true freshman, but how have you seen it paid off for him and in what areas?
I think all those guys, from him, Pacheco, anybody that was here early, and I look at where the guys are that just got here, the Paul Woods and Davion Robinsons, and they're doing a good job, but I mean, you talk about swimming. I mean, you can see it in their eyes, and they have a fraction of the job that the quarterbacks have. So they feel like they're veteran guys already. I know it's hard for me to remember that they're freshmen. In fact, we were talking the other day about get the freshmen together, and it's like, oh, these guys are freshmen, you know. But since they've been here the whole time I've been here, I feel like they're already like veteran type players because they went through a hard winter conditioning, spring, summer. I don't know where we would be if we just started here day one, or where they get here at the end of June and study some stuff. But I look at where those other position guys are; they're doing okay. They're doing about as expected, but if it was the quarterback in that spot, you'd be having a lot of issues.
I guess where have you seen
You've seen that hard for the first few days, 4 days of the camp.
The same big arm, the same pocket presence, the same kind of command at the line of scrimmage. You know, listen, here's what happens, I think. You know, a lot of these guys play in these 7-on-7 leagues, and the guys coach them up, and they throw on air, they go back, and they do all the, you know, the right mechanics, and it looks great. Well, when it's the pass rush, you don't have time to think through your left foot, right foot, whatever the terminology is. You got to be able to react, and you got to be able to handle that pocket. You know, we've been killing on our offensive line to create kind of that pocket to kind of get the big guys to kind of step up in there. Well, if you've just been a guy throwing on air and at 7-on-7, you like to kind of hang back and look for the open guy. That's not how it works. So there's certain things that come with a young guy and his experience that are totally different. When you're going to talk about blocking these two ends at Ohio State, and they're coming. So you're going to hang back there. It's going to be, you're going to have problems. So real football compared to all summer, the 7-on-7s, hey, this is great. It's a totally different deal. So the more we can do, obviously, with him, the more he can get at reacting it. But he's got the ability to do it.
I guess the same question for John Lewis. What have you seen from the spring to now? Because you
Well,
mentioned you're
first
more
of all-
confident in the position. So.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, his body's completely changed. I mean, if you look at him, I don't remember the exact numbers of the body fat percentage, darn near in half. But he looks fantastic physically. I think that helps because he's the same thing. He's got to be able to operate his footwork in the pocket. I mean, his feet and body have to work together for his accuracy, which is the same true for really 99%. A guy like Aaron Rodgers can turn around. But I mean, for the most part, guys have to set their feet, be square to their targets, and throw. Not coach speak wise, just in reality. And they got to work their way through their progressions with their feet and body rather than just looking around and then throw it. You know, I think that's where the accuracy problems come up. I think he's been better at that. I think he's been better at, falling back on that back foot and relying on just arm to throw it all the time. So those things have improved as long, as his knowledge of the offense has improved and his comfort with working through those progressions. So he's been good. I mean, he's had a good 4 days. He kind of was like this in the spring, and he kind of finished on a downer. In the spring game, he didn't play very well, and everybody's out there going, well, what's going on? Well, his body changed. I think his outlook changed a little bit, and I think he's been playing better.
How about you, his comfort level with your offense? I think it's just because the offense in 5 years, but I mean, do you feel comfortable with him?
Oh yeah, I think he's probably had the best 4 days, maybe the 3. I mean, he's a tough competitor, and he ain't you're gonna have to wrestle. You're gonna have to fight to take something away from him in terms of he's a guy that's been here. If you're gonna want to play. And he's throwing a lot of deep balls really well, really just by same thing we talked about, pocket presence and being able to move and find spots in the pocket to that extra half count to get the ball, because we're trying to get the ball down the field, as much as we can. And he's made some really good throws down the field, and that's been his, I think the pocket presence and the ability to chunk it accurately has been really exciting here for the first 4 days.
I know you mentioned the big plays, chunk plays. I mean, how comfortable? I mean, how much of that is a priority this summer?
Well, I think to me, I think you got to get in the 30s in college football now to think that you have a chance to win the game. And maybe you can slug it out with someone, or you're going to try to run the clock. But the reality is, you got to score. And the only way to score is to get some big plays. I mean, I hope we have a lot of 14-play drives, but I just know the reality is you need to strike down the field and, you know, and operate at different tempos to get them off balance. Because you hit a big play and you get up right on the ball and try to hit another one. I just think it's essential to scoring. You know, I don't think we're going to just throw a bunch of 5-yard routes and hit some 4-yard runs and then try to score. I think we want to advance the ball in chunks. It's the way it was, you know, last time I was here. We were able to do that and have some productive wideouts along with productive backs. It all comes off the run game, but that's an essential part of our offense. That we got to have the guys to go get it too. But guys have to be able to throw it accurately down the field.
Along those lines, where, you know, last time you were here, there was just an impressive collection of skilled players on every position. How close do you think you are to having the level of talent at skilled positions to compete in the Big Ten?
I think we have a good front line of guys, and in certain spots, I think they're really young. You know, I think Hillman's been a good addition, you know, at running back, because he's a little bit of an older presence there, where you get a bunch of young guys, whether it's Pacheco and Blackshear. A receiver, you guys know what the numbers are. There's not a lot of experience. There's not a lot of age there either, and it's good and bad. I mean, they're raw. They're eager. They'll do everything you want them to do, but on the other side, they haven't done it. So every rep is a new deal. And the biggest thing for them, just going into this camp, if we're going to be successful, they're going to have to go get the ball. I mean, it sounds like an obvious thing to say, but for that group, the charge was to go, you know, complete the plays. And so we've had some good, some bad in that vein. You know, a guy like Bo Melton, who's our big home run guy, he's made some hellacious plays. He's dropped a few, you know, 80-yard, 40-yard, 50-yard, you know, chunks that get him right in the hand. So those are all point-type plays. So I think, well, anyway, to answer the question, I think we have I think we're good enough. Is Kenny Britt laying around here? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. But I know all the guys are younger, for the most part. The younger guys, they look really good to me, talented. There's a number of freshmen that have stood out. So I'm excited about them. I just know I'm not the most patient guy, that there's going to be issues that come up and we're going to go, you didn't think that? Well, no, I never did it. You know what I mean? And we're going to have to live with it, but we're also going to know at some point they're going to be putting balls in the end zone.
Interior offensive line, I guess, where do you guys stand with Jonah? Where are you going to put him at this point, and the other guys in the mix?
I think I like the way we've been operating so far up front. I think the interior's kind of been solidified a little bit. So far, to me, that overall, that's probably the best unit in camp. And we had a lot of issues in the spring. Believe me, we were, worried about it. But so far, they've operated. They're very calm now inside. You know, with Mike snapping and Jonah there at guard, and he can talk to Kamal, and so. There's a lot of stuff our defense gives us every day that's difficult to pick up. And in the spring, we didn't do a very good job picking it up. So, it's been 4 days, but there have been a lot of great pockets and great chances and nice clinic almost type film of picking stuff up in our first 4 days. Now, if we can stay healthy and we can have that group continue to work together, to me, that group overall, again, 4 days, 2 of them are in helmets, I got it, but in terms of just watching how they operate and communicate, I think that's been a group that's really raised their level so far.
Thanks, Coach.